Kasparas, Jakucionis, Kylan and Boswell are simply the best backcourt in the Big Ten. If not, the entire country. Locked On Illini, let's go.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode during holiday week of Locked On Illini. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me at IlliniCast or at the Sunny V. We've surpassed the 1,700 subscribers threshold. Thank you all so much. 1,800 in sight. So if you haven't already subscribed, again, my name is Sunny. I produce Illini content for you every single day, including the holidays. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. I sincerely do hope that everyone got to enjoy their Christmas or holiday, whatever holiday it is that you spend. And some of you might be going back to work on Thursday, but I still didn't. Well, I kind of wanted to keep the theme for the week about just things that I'm kind of grateful for. And when it comes to Illinois basketball, I got to sit back and think about it, and I was observing other people's conversations about this topic. And I want to kickstart the conversation and just say I'm super grateful for the backcourt of the Fighting Illini. What can be said about Kasparas, Jakucionis? Obviously, I essentially talk about him every single day because he is the focal point of of our basketball team, and he's been the main reason that we've had the success that we've had so far this season. But what I wanted to do for at least a couple minutes is highlight his partner. So again, as my job to you guys, especially now that we're entering into Big Ten play, I try to watch some of our competitors as often as I can whenever one of their games is on and the Fighting Illini are not playing, or the Bears aren't playing, because obviously I do Bears content for Bears on Tap as well. And so I've watched a few of Purdue's basketball games this year. And obviously, like I've said it before, I still will give them the benefit of the doubt once Big Ten season starts. And by the way, let me preface this right now. Let me get ahead of this narrative. The schedule that they have coming up to kickstart that Big Ten season is super easy. So I do not be surprised if Purdue reels off 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in a row in the Big Ten Conference, and all of a sudden your friends from West Lafayette are going to come back and say, hey, see, we're fine. There's no issues. You guys were jumping on our graves a little too early. That's besides the point. Purdue, I don't think right now, the way they've played at least, and the roster construction is a top 3 or 4 Big Ten team. But we won't see that until they really start playing the elites of the Big Ten. Not that there may be any elites, but even the very, very good basketball teams of our conference. But one of the reasons for, how do I phrase this, Purdue's maybe slight step back from last year, obviously a team that went to the national championship. And now this year, again, my opinion is, I think this was Matt Painter's words, not even mine. He said that we're a good team. We're not a great team. And, it's tough taking a step back once you just tasted what a national championship could potentially taste like. But one of the reasons for the step back for Purdue is they simply don't have a complement to Braden Smith. As Braden Smith goes, that's how the Boilermakers go. So if Braden needs to catch a breath, if Braden is in foul trouble, Purdue right now has nobody else who they can trust, another guard to handle the ball, to set the offense up. And that's what just got me to thinking about how much of I'm just going to say it, a home run acquisition Kylan Boswell was for the Illini. Because as much pressure as Kasparas has for, basically putting this team on his shoulders, he gets to share that responsibility with a veteran in the backcourt next to him. Now, of course, I say veteran, but it's almost tongue-in-cheek in the sense where I think Kylan's only like a year or year and a half older than Kasparas. But this is Kylan's third year playing college basketball. So, I mean, he knows what the environment is like now. He's gotten situated and he's very focused and not the same guy that he was for the Arizona Wildcats. But right now, even in the game against Missouri, when, Kasparas, let's be honest, has had some struggles at the end of games. Now, ultimately, he always pulls through for us for the most part. But, I've said this before, and I don't think any of you would necessarily disagree. He has some plays where you just want to pull your hair out. It's just like you need to make smarter basketball decisions here. Now, he's young. He's 18 years old. He's a freshman, and he's so incredibly talented that you just, take those moments of mental mistakes because the positive that he brings to your basketball team far outweighs it. And for every careless turnover he's going to have with 90 seconds left, he may pull through with a step back three-pointer and one with 25 seconds left. But in that Missouri game, it was Kylan Boswell who actually had the ball in his hands at the later part of that game. And, he basically took on the role as that playmaker for a change, giving Kasparas a break. And that's just something that Purdue doesn't have. And again, it just I wanted to, on this week of appreciation, show the utmost appreciation for this backcourt that we have. They balance each other out so incredibly well. Again, ball handling wise, I'm comfortable with either of them bringing it up the floor. But Kasparas obviously is the offensive mastermind, a juggernaut of some sorts. Like he's jumped up to top 5 in NBA mock drafts with his 6'6" size. He's a big player and he shoulders a lot of the responsibility of this basketball team on the offensive end. And then you have Kylan Boswell, who is absolutely elite defensively. I mean, I did not know he was going to be this good of a defender. And now, credit to Brad Underwood. Kylan has talked about he really relishes this role as the defensive stopper. And it was kind of ingrained to him when he signed with the Illini, because Brad Underwood basically told him, hey, with your size, we can work on A and we can work on B. And what we can have you do is become a defensive stopper, an ace stopper, a guy who can shut down the opposing team's best guard. And that's exactly what has happened. And, Kasparas, I don't think Kasparas is as bad of a defender as some might think he is. I don't think he has a lateral quickness, but, he expends so much energy on the offensive end. I just think it's one of those where on the defensive end, sure, he misses a play here and there, but it's not like I would give him a grade of F or even a D. He's probably for the season. If I had to, gun to my head right now, I'd give him a C+ when it comes to his defense. But Kylan, simply put, A+ even when it comes to shutting down the opponent's best guard. I can't wait. And I've said this before, I cannot wait until that final game of the season against Purdue when Braden Smith has to experience what Kylan Boswell Island feels like. We've had a lot to deal with over the last couple of years with Braden. He's a clutch basketball player, sure. But I don't think he's gone up against a guy like Kylan. It just seems like, at least as of late, and, I want to thank Nick Schaefer for making this tweet to kind of put the stats very easy for me. Once Kylan and Kasparas had started playing high major opponents, they've both completely showed up. Kasparas is averaging 20.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, and 4.7 assists per game. Kylan Boswell is averaging 14.3 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game. This is our point guard, 6.2 rebounds per game, and 3.8 assists per game. Again, you're talking about two guys in our backcourts who are having very solid all-around numbers, whereas one understands his responsibility is to run this offense and to, try to be one of the most efficient offenses in the country. Now, are we right now? No, but I don't think it's Kasparas' fault. I think right now it's just the simple fact that, the wide open jump shots being set up by Kasparas that are going to a Will Riley or a Ben Humrickhouse. Right now, those two guys are just cold, and those shots aren't going in. But I really do trust in the law of averages, and I think Will and Ben are going to, turn things up a notch as we get into Big Ten season. And all of a sudden, Kasparas' assists will go up, and maybe Boswell's assists will go up, and the efficiency of our offense will return to maybe not quite what it looked like last year, when I think we were the top offense in the entire country for a better part of the season, but certainly better than where we're at right now. There's just so much talent on this basketball team. The backcourt isn't perfect. Kasparas, again, does turn the ball over a little bit more than most Illini fans are comfortable with. And Kylan really hasn't found the shooting touch that we're hoping that he's going to bring over from Arizona. I believe he was 2 for 12 in the last game against Missouri. So obviously, we're going to need him to make more of his jump shots as the season progresses as well. But again, during times like this where we're all just grateful to have what we have and, not, yearn for something we don't, I wanted to take a minute or two and just show appreciation. It's as simple as that we have two guards that are this capable and, just balance each other out perfectly in the sense where I don't know if anybody in the country would not trade their backcourt for ours. And again, it's incredible to say because neither of these guys is in their second season with the Illini. Neither of these guys were with the team last year. This is just Brad Underwood doing Brad Underwood things, signing Kylan Boswell early in the offseason, and then Kasparas later on into the summer. And, two completely brand new players, brand new systems, and he brings it into Champaign, and we're very grateful that it has worked out. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. Not only can you bet on who will win the game, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown or how many points each team will score. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So breaking news as I'm recording this, breaking news to maybe the listener here, but not anyone who's involved in the Discord, who I actually broke this news a little bit earlier. It looks like James Thompson Jr., a couple-year starter from the Wisconsin Badgers, is also going to transfer to the Illini. So the morphing into the Fighting Badgers continues for our team in Champaign. I'm going to be talking more in depth about some of the new former Badgers turned Illini in a future episode, but it kind of highlights, and it's just perfect timing because of this segment here was going to be about what the transfer portal needs still are for this football team. Now, a couple of days ago, I talked about the new Pavia ruling, which might be beneficial for the Illini, and the original intention of that episode was me doing a transfer portal needs ranking until the Pavia news came out. And so I decided to shift a little bit. But a couple of you on Facebook and Instagram, and by the way, I'm on Locked On Illini on all the social medias and on, everything that you can find, Blue Sky even. So simply send me a message if you have feedback. I love hearing back from you guys as we continue to grow our community. But a couple of you did message that if I could actually still go ahead and go through with what some of the transfer portal rankings or the positions that we kind of still need. And I guess I'm going to have to shift things a little bit. First and foremost, the #1 hole is still left tackle, right? We still don't know what JC Davis is ultimately going to decide. He has the opportunity to play at the Senior Bowl. I'm very curious to see whether he plays it. I believe he has until January 15th to withdraw or I don't even know if he's officially announced, but to decide that he's not going to be in the NFL draft. So, of course, that is first and foremost the position that we need to monitor the most, because that's the biggest hole on this football team right now. JC Davis was a home run transfer last year. I think he finished third team all Big Ten this year. And if we can invest whatever NIL we have left to make it, intriguing enough for him to spurn the NFL for one more year. Again, I did some research right before I started recording this, and he's kind of being projected anywhere from the 6th to 7th round. So it's not like you're talking about crazy money, at least when it comes to NFL standards. I do think, the opportunity might be at Illinois, where he can probably make kind of similar amount of money and then count on the hopes that Brett Bielema can coach him up and maybe get him to a 4th round or a 5th round level in next year's draft. So, first and foremost, left tackle position is the most important, and hopefully we can bring back JC Davis, because at this point, Illinois has struck out on, I believe, their top 4, if not even 5 targets at that position. And I don't know who the next guy in line is that they'd be going at. It's funny that this news broke about James Thompson right as I was about to record this segment, because the other position of need for me was the defensive line. But I like the guys that we've brought in. And again, I'll go over more in depth a little bit later with someone who has been watching them for their entire careers. But what I thought that the guys that we brought in were, prior to James, were depth pieces, the guys to kind of replace the guys that we have departing, to maintain the relatively high floor that the unit brings. But I think James Thompson is a game breaker. I think, in my opinion, he's the best acquisition that we've had all offseason. And again, I haven't had time to process my thoughts because it just happened seconds ago. If I had to move on to another position now, because I don't think DL really is much of a need anymore, is I guess we can also wait to hear about this JUCO rule when it comes to the cornerback room. There's a couple possible prospects who might be able to come back. At the linebacker position, I'm always looking to elevate the talent that we have in the linebacker room. I like the recruits that we've been getting as of late, but I think we could still use one more top guy. I don't know if we're going to be able to get them, in particular with us bringing James Thompson in. I'm assuming we're going to spend a good amount of our NIL on JC Davis. Wide receiver is a concern for a lot of people, but the staff, let me tell you firsthand, I know this, really likes this Justin Bowick kid. He only played 4 games last year, but he played very, very well. And they do think he has the potential to be the number 1. And if he's not, well, arguably the wide receiver room is the most talented room that we have on this Illini team next year, between LZ, Capper Jones, Hank Beatty, and I'm sure Colin Dixon, of course. Colin Dixon might be the next big guy on this Illini team that we've been developing. So, it's funny, I started recording this thinking I have a clear number 1 offensive line. Well, JC Davis might be coming back. And if he's able to plug that hole at left tackle, I think Illinois is in fantastic shape. Then all we would need is maybe another star defensive lineman, a guy to raise the ceiling on this football team and not necessarily just continue to elevate the floor. And, well, we just got 4-star James Thompson. I hate to say this, and you guys may disagree, but we might be done at this point when it comes to shoring up our weaknesses. If you've been paying attention the last couple of minutes, I'm just kind of talking about, well, I guess maybe, but we don't necessarily need to. Punter, we had 2 punters transfer out this offseason, and so, it might not hurt to bring in a multi-year guy. But, if punter is a transfer need, how concerned or worried are you really? Regardless, we're going to continue to monitor the transfer portal. I'll have my ears to the ground. This one kind of came as a surprise to me. I thought he was going to sign with Tennessee, to be honest. That's when I checked in a couple days ago, and it's my fault that I didn't follow up with it. I asked someone who in the know who the main competition was for James, and they had told me the Volunteers. And automatically, the way my brain works, when I hear that Illinois is going up against an SEC school, and an SEC school that has a lot of money for a premium position, for a premium player, Well, I've just gotten into the habit of thinking that that is not going to work out favorably for us in Champaign. But in this case, it did. Again, I think this is the best acquisition so far of the offseason, at least from external ways, right? Obviously, the key importance is working on Luke Altmaier. Hopefully, we'll hear something from Gabe Jakucionis soon, Xavier Scott soon. If we're able to get Luke, Gabe, Xavier, and potentially JC Davis back, I really like what this football team is going to look like next season. If you haven't gotten your tickets for the Citrus Bowl just yet, make sure when you do look for those tickets, you use the Game Time app. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events, the experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time comes with all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront and with no surprise fees at checkout, and a seat view. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And that'll just about do it for today's edition of Locked On Illini. Again, I hope all week long you get to spend some quality time with your friends and family. Just know that I'll be here every single day providing Illini content for you. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. If you haven't hit the like button on this video yet, please do so. Let me know your thoughts. Do the Illini have the best backcourt in the conference? Do they potentially have the best backcourt in the entire nation? I want to hear what you think of the Kasparas and Kylan pairing. Also, the transfer portal. Again, today, kind of impromptu, I had to change my rankings because of the last-minute addition of James Thompson Jr. I think we might be set, but am I wrong? Maybe this is something I'll be talking about in a future episode. But I want to hear your thoughts. Is there another position that you think is of a priority need? Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast. Craig Shimon puts the Big Ten first when everyone else overlooks it. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to do it for me today. We'll have a preview of Chicago State in our next episode, amongst very other things. I do think there's one more guy who I think his contributions, at least in the last couple of games, have been overlooked, and he's been a big reason that we've been able to win the games that we've been able to win. Let me know in the comments if you can guess who that guy is. But until next time, ILL. Love you guys.